Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with visionary and master intuitive Anatara. I'm Christina Suzama, host of this program. Today we are speaking on bulk clearing of hazardous thoughts. And with us is the beautiful Anatara.
Hi, Christina.
Hello, Anatara. I love that title.
Well, I thought you might get a kick out of it. And it's funny, as I read it, hazardous thoughts, are they really like hazardous chemicals that we should keep locked under the sink so that we never get near them? And the answer is yes, they are.
Yeah, I was going to say yes. And we do have a lot of bulk, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we've got a bulk in terms of how many hazardous thoughts we carry around with us. And we're going to learn how to clear them in sort of by the bulk of them, or through clear as many as possible all at once, so we don't have to carry them around with us. So I'm just gonna read something a little bit that will get us on the right track for this description. I work with so many people who look relentlessly, and they seem to be looking forever for the causes of the disharmony in their lives. They wonder, was it a past life? Did it come from a painful and soul-destroying event in this life? Was I ignored or forgotten or misunderstood by an important person? Sometimes this search becomes circular and self-destructive, and this is when it really becomes hazardous. There is a way to ask permission of yourself for release of all of these heavy and painful memories and thoughts. Sometimes you can go directly to freedom from the hazards of the heaviness you are invested in. And we're going to talk about that a lot. This kind of clearing can be simple, gentle, and deliciously effective. Okay, so what is a hazardous thought? A hazardous thought is one that we get stuck with. It's a thought that repetitively and repeatedly tells us that we aren't strong enough to do something. We aren't smart enough to get there. Once when I was a child, I remember being beaten, and therefore in almost every situation that I find myself, I have this I pull back because maybe that will happen again. That's a hazardous memory that becomes a hazardous thought. Now, the original or initial thoughts and memories, they're not necessarily hazardous. They're fact. They've happened to us. We were in that. We realized that if we can look at it sort of logically and in a greater sense of abstraction, we can see that the response to that makes sense. But when we repeatedly come back and around to that one hazardous idea, that one repetitive notion, we can't do anything else. We can't decide that everyone we meet might be okay, rather than believing that perhaps everyone we know is out to get us, or that everyone we meet in every new situation thinks that we are incapable of something. So we get stuck in our own loop. We find that there isn't any way to feel a release and to feel at ease of just seeing what's presenting and seeing what's coming next, or seeing what's just happening now. So in my sessions with people, and when I'm leading groups and workshops, I hear people talk to me about, it has to be that one past life that I experienced. I know it was the way that person treated me in that lifetime, that I just don't feel safe, and everything feels unsafe to me. So they themselves come back to that memory. They try with relentless dedication and devotion to try to clear one particular thing or another particular thing. And we all have our own themes, don't we? Can you you've known some of your own themes, I'm sure.
Yes, we all have that baggage.
So, we can laugh at it when we're sitting here talking to each other, but it can be very substantial. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it can shut us down. It can arrest any sort of sense that we have that we are safe that we can move forward and that will be taken care of.
Yes.
And but I think that safety is a really big one.
Mm-hmm.
So we adopt all kinds of attitudes and processes and personality traits to protect ourselves from releasing those things. Okay, so as I was saying a minute ago, I see the repetition. I see the constant returning of an individual to a specific thought that for whatever reason they don't feel safe letting go. When you bundle up all of those recurring ideas and memories about yourself, whether it came from this lifetime, a past lifetime, or even a future lifetime, you find yourself in a kind of stasis, a kind of you're stuck. You really are stuck. And you come to the point after working at it for a number of years, which literally does happen, that you think, oh my gosh, I'm just ready to quit. There is no relief for me in my life. And there's no way that I can see myself getting through so many ruptures in my sense of how I feel about myself. So this is where the bulk clearing comes in. And this is where the asking permission of yourself to release all of those tendencies that hold you back and keep you from moving forward, allowing yourself to ask that be so. So the first step in this, and that's really all that we can discuss in this short period of time, but the first step in this is to allow yourself to come into a place of stillness where you can observe and realize one of those patterns that you have, one of those themes or stories that you tell yourself. And from that place of stillness, you can look at it and you can observe it. And it can become a little bit more abstract. It's an idea. It's something that exists, but is it really, you say, is that really me? Am I really, really attached to all of the time and all of the energy I've put into bringing that up and bringing that up and bringing that up? And you can do that one by one with your memories, or you can literally ask yourself to feel safe enough in one moment of stillness, in one moment of very easy and beautiful breathing, that any theme, whether you know it or not, any pattern, whether you've got it specifically laid out in front of you or not, you are ready to let it go. You are ready to say, I don't need this in my life any longer. I don't need to be subject to these things that have held me back. I don't need to be under the thumb, so to speak, of the pressure of those thoughts and memories about myself. So the bulk movement happens. These hazardous and debilitating thoughts start to slip away, sort of like waves, when you allow yourself to ask permission to be free of them. When I lead people in this, I will say, so are you ready? Are you ready to decide that you don't need this anymore? And they may hesitate at first and say, I don't know if that feels really safe. or they may know, because they are already in a state of expanded awareness and consciousness, that yes, this is a perfectly good idea. This is perfectly safe. So sometimes there is repetition required in this release. And then sometimes one area that has been particularly dogging you because you've let it for a long time will stick a little bit longer than some of the others. And then you can use the same idea, the same method, the same pattern of breathing quietly and easily with something, asking permission of yourself to let it be gone, and then to actually letting it be gone. Mm. Can you think of something right now that dogs you? Something that you don't have to want to share it, but is there something that you can think of right now?
I believe there always is. Because every day we deal with people, and things come up, and I have a habit of questioning myself. So it's a self-worth situation that was basically from childhood. That's not good enough. This is not good enough. This is, so even at the stage of the game, I still deal with that. I still deal with that. But of course, I let that go much faster. I've learned through these past 15, 20 years to go, it's, it is, honor it, see it. Is there something to learn from it? And then, okay, it's time. Bye-bye. And it's not all about me as opposed to it is the circumstance. It is what it is. It's so many factors, and we sometimes just have to let it go. As long as I know I didn't hurt anybody.
Well, even that, that's a very, very precious thing to understand. And even that can be part of a loop that keeps you trapped.
Yes. Yes.
So isn't that beautiful that you know that about yourself? And if you apply the bulk clearing principle to this, you could work with it, those two things that you are very lively aware of. You could work with that to send them on their way, to ask permission of yourself to release them, to not need them, to be without them, and just see what happens. The beauty of the bulk clearing is that when you get rid of and eliminate some of the superficial levels of these things, some of the deeper things rise, and your truest self is then visible.
Yes.
The truest self that needs more help, or the truest self that's just perfectly happy the way it is.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So when you say bulk clearing, Anatara, of course, when we hear the word bulk, we hear large, expansive. Like here, take it. It's like when you're clearing your house to donate things. It's like, no, one bag is just not enough. Let's do a little more.
A whole dumpster.
There you go, right? Because it's almost like, and many times I think of it like that. It's the metaphor when you're clearing things in your life that are physical, materialistic. You also begin to clear that space within.
So the bulk, I don't know if you were finished it or not.
Yes.
But the bulk, all energy exists, and we do carry around a bulk of things that make us contract, and we carry on a bulk of things that make us expansive. And how about allowing the bulk to be really expansive, the bulk of ourselves, the bulk of existence to flow through us by clearing the kind of bulk that you were talking about? Is that a little bit clearer?
Yes. It's like, wow, that's a lot. Okay, take it away.
That's it. And that's one of the ways that you can look at these themes I'm talking about. Do you need any of the things that keep you in a place that's less than responsive to all that is? Release all of those things. Take care of all of that just by giving yourself permission to do so.
Wonderful. Oh, well, permission granted.
Exactly. First step.
My goodness. Thank you, Anatara. I think this is very helpful for many of us here that, it's even if it's one step at a time, if we do bulk, that's even greater and better.
Go for the bulk.
Go for the bulk. I agree. Thank you so much, Anatara. And of course, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. You can connect with Anatara by following her on Twitter, and of course, through her own website, anatara.ca. anatara.ca. We would love to hear from you. Your comments and suggestions are always precious to us. Now, you can do so at any time, a year from now, 2 years from now, no matter if you're listening to this on the site, just type it into the comment box, or if you're on a podcast and listening it through to one of your devices, just give us a call at 818-LETS-TALK, 818-LETS-TALK. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, namaste.